Rock and roll, baby.
Call this meeting of the Planning, Zoning, Agriculture Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolthoff.
Present.
Mr. Stauffenberg. Ms. Schmidt. Mr. Hess.
Present.
Mr. James.
Present.
Ms. McBride. Present. Mr. Marcotte.
Present.
Mr. Scholl.
Present.
Mr. Tholen. Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Washington. Mr. Witten.
Present.
Mr. Cruz. Mr. McClure.
We have a forum. We have public comment this morning, and approximately 5 minutes limit. Joellen?
Can't pronounce that last name yet, can you?
Well, I'm still not there. Joellen G. How's that?
That's good. Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, that's great. How's everybody this morning?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Today you are once again putting the reinstatement of the IEPA delegation agreement on the table. It appears you have set this agreement up for failure. My own county board representative informed me it is a dead horse and will never come to pass. Too bad for us when our own representative does not stand up for those he represents, or perhaps is swayed in another direction for whatever reason. You, and I mean the board as a whole, have allowed this to become bogged down in the state's attorney's office for too long a period. If you had a working delegation agreement with strong code enforcement agents, the Village of Bradley may be faring better with the citizens versus United Disposal. Mayor Kent was one who could not afford 40 cents per person to support such local enforcement of the environmental codes. I'm remembering the 4 mayoral letters in the past and their complaint of strict enforcement. Sometimes the chicken comes home to roost. Our county board and PZA wholeheartedly welcome these recycling and landfill sites into our communities and rural areas with no foresight on the effects of those citizens in the immediate vicinity of those sites. Today is your day to redeem our faith in this system. Mr. Scholl, as my representative, I am asking you to support the original delegation agreement without the stipulations and bring this to a motion before this board. Respectfully, Joellen Jorkus, Essex Township.
Thank you, Mr. Short.
You're welcome.
Helen Evers?
I was kind of hoping Jamie Boyd was going to be here this morning because he had invited open-heartedly for people to come on out to the meeting today because he was going to let us know what was going on with the delegation agreement. I have, first of all, a comment on the debate that took place out at KCC. Mr. Boyd had said, and I'll quote him here, he gets things done in a timely fashion. Well, I disagree. When our local county inspector meticulously put together a solid waste plan, he had hijacked her plan and been sitting on it for over a year now. This is not a timely fashion. We haven't had an inspector for this county for quite some time, and who knows what kind of serious environmental issues could possibly be brewing out there. Keep in mind, the finger pointing was directly at Mr. Boyd by our county board chairman, that he had the delegation agreement and has been taking care of it. That statement was over a year ago. I believe the IEPA had a deadline to meet sooner than his time frame. He had claimed at the debate that he guides the county board on things. He doesn't interfere. I believe that his interference has costed this county no longer a solid waste inspector and a lawsuit against this county as well. Thank you.
All right, going on. Approval of the minutes, the August 13th minutes are they're not quite ready. They're being for approval. So we will not approve those at this time. Going on to the subdivision number 5, Diverse Tech Grove subdivision final plat.
The developers of Diverse Tech Grove have submitted their final plat for approval. It's 42 lot, excuse me, 41 lot subdivision on the north side of Diverse Tech Drive, just as you enter into the Diverse Tech campus. Our engineers have inspected the work that they've done so far and determined that there's $99,844 worth of work yet to be done, and we will be receiving a letter of credit in that amount.
Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. James to approve, second by Mr. Tripp. Any discussion?
Just have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Bernard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any, do they seek any waivers or anything at this point? Okay.
No, that wasn't approved.
All right, thank you.
Ready for the question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Going on to planning. Appointment of county board member to replace Mr. Tripp on Regional Planning Commission. Did I miss? I'm sorry. Number 6. ZBA case 08-11, request for special use permit 121-99C28 for a kennel on a parcel generally situated in section 10 of Norton Township. Petitioner is Susan J. Theus, property owner and applicant.
This case, as the chairman has stated, is a application by Susan Theus to establish a kennel on her property located at 1334 North 16,000 West Road in Section 10 of Norton Township. The parcel is 20 acres in size. The majority of the parcel will stay in agricultural use. Ms. Theus currently has 32 dogs that she keeps in the basement of the house. They're Australian Shepherds. And she lets them out into pens in the yard for exercise and bathroom breaks. ZBA voted 7-0 to recommend approval of this petition.
Mr. Scholl?
I would move that we accept the petition.
All right. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Marcotte. Any discussion? Ms. Hartsberger?
Does the kennel have a license?
No, they have to get zoning approval first. They've applied for a license with the animal control, and that's been put on hold until they receive their special use permit.
Okay, so we don't know if they're a legal kennel.
They will be when this is approved, yes.
Only if they meet the standards of that licensing.
Yes.
Correct.
And we don't know if they do or not.
Ms. Boudreau, the Director of Animal Control, did testify at the hearing that she has been out there, she's inspected the site, and she doesn't see any reason that their license won't be approved.
Okay, that's what I need to know, thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Scholl?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the applicant should be commended on this. Is something that has been an oversight which was occurred and then has gone through the proper process to make it official.
Any others?
Thank you. This is a variance,
It's a special use.
a special use.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when it dies, it dies. It doesn't go on forever. In other words,
It goes with the property.
It will go with the
But
property.
if the kennel was to cease operation for 12 months, they would have to reapply.
Okay, that's
or
what I
go
want.
away.
Thank you. One clarification.
Ms. Bernard?
Thank you. Just a couple of quick questions that are related to this. I think it was Kathy Malin, is that her name, that was here last month or the month before? That it was seeking was she seeking a rezoning?
Malin was a rezoning.
Malin, yes. And, I mean, she's seeking it for, I think, dog runs or kennel couldn't, what's the status of that?
That was denied by the county board. It wasn't kennel.
Right, but wasn't she seeking to put up some dog kennels? For dog runs or something?
No, that was a rezoning
Right,
for
but-
a home.
Okay, because I thought she was trying to put some runs up at that home, and then when she was looking.
No, there was an illegal division, and the zoning wasn't proper on the property, and it came to our attention because she wanted to put up a fence.
Okay, also, can you tell me if Adrian's Puppy Palace on Route 1 is owned a kennel?
I don't even know.
Okay, I'll stop in after the meeting to see if you can look that up for me.
Yeah,
It's been there quite a while, hasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it might be grandfathered in.
Well, yeah, but I would think that, I don't think we can, I think we'd have to make sure that there's a difference between the state kennel license and the county
That's
license.
not the issue that we're addressing right now, so.
Well, I just thought I'd ask.
James.
I'd be interested in fulfilling that position.
You'll have to take it up with the chairman. Okay, and Mr. Hess also. All right, got it around here. Okay, one opening in the Kankakee County Regional Planning Commission. These will be released for people to apply. Going on to old and new business. We'll go on to the reinstatement of the delegation agreement. We'll hold off on enterprise. We'll hold off on the we need a motion that we have the delegation agreement, the resolution of the county board that was back on February 16th. And we have 6 provisions that we wanted, and we would want to take out 4 and 5, which the part is all inspections within municipality should be conducted with municipal representative if the municipality so chooses. Taking that one out, and then the county of Kankakee will not indemnify the state of Illinois. Take that one out, that they will not indemnify. I'm sorry, Mrs. Schmidt.
That's okay, I call myself that every once in a while. I'd like to make a motion to reinstate the delegation agreement, omitting those 2 provisions, 4 and 5.
Mr. Scholl?
I would second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Menard?
Looking at all these conditions, when I spoke with the EPA, they said these conditions, they would not support some of these conditions. And number 3, I would ask, I cannot make a vote on this committee because I'm not on this committee, but I would ask that somebody on this committee amend it to include, to strike item number 3 from the resolution that was passed in February that calls for the IEPA doing an inspection of permitted facilities in the county.
Yep. Are you talking?
The
Talking
county
about
represent-
upon agreement implementations conditioned upon the IEPA doing an inspection of all permitted facilities in the county with the county representative present. You're objecting to that?
Well, what is, so we can have, will the EPA be able to be here every month?
No, this is just the first inspection
First inspection.
before they hand it off.
Then can we add that language in there?
It is in there.
Implementation is conditioned upon the IPA doing an inspection with the county representative present for the first inspection. Can we add those few words then to clarify it, because it is ambiguous then?
All right, we'll put the first in. Doing, crossing out and.
Initial.
All right, initial.
So from then on, what would we fall back on to ensure then that these permitted facilities then would be getting their regular inspections?
We're reinstating the
Would we revert back to the original delegation agreement then?
For this delegation agreement.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure on that. All right.
We need a motion to add those words, the initial inspection of all permitted facilities. Mr. Scholl makes it, Mr. Hess seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to make something clear. Now, we still have the inspector that will go out and make, if there's a spill, anything like that.
Yes.
I mean, there will be on call 24 hours a day like it used to be.
Yes.
So, I mean,
That for non-permitted sites.
non-permitted site. Anytime there's a spill or anything like that, they can call. Okay. Local. That's, I guess, local.
Right. Countywide. Mr. Tripp.
What about the state reimbursement end of this?
In the delegation agreement, they will provide the county of Kankakee with at least 66, it says at least, but 66,000 is the max, which would represent 70% of the cost.
And it's assured every
They
whatever.
will reimburse up to 70% of the cost up to 66,000.
What if they don't pass?
They have paid in the past, and I was assured that that would not be a problem.
Okay, but if they don't, do we keep the program going or not? At our expense?
If the IEPA fails to appropriate or fund the project, the agreement will become null and void.
Okay.
That's a binding agreement. Mr. Whitman,
Thank you, Chairman. Who's going to do the inspections?
that's to be determined.
Out of what department, who's going to do the inspections?
That's to be determined at probably the county board level.
You can't tell us before we vote how we're voting, and what we're voting for?
It hasn't been decided.
That hasn't been decided. I mean, we have an idea, but we haven't decided that yet. So I really don't want to put something out there that hasn't been decided.
I don't want to vote for something that hasn't been decided.
Well, you don't know. What?
Mr. Chairman?
No. Was that when he mentioned? Mr. Scholl.
Thank you. You know, that's the next step of the appointment of an inspector or the certification of the inspectors in that step. What we're doing right now is just the agreement itself. So we can pass it on to the board and get this thing moving, get it back on track.
Any others? Mr. Bernard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, given that it's only 9:15, we're pretty early into this meeting, I think there's ample time to kind of discuss what direction we want to take.
We got a motion.
We have a motion.
No, but I would suggest that the board look at having this back under planning, having a solid waste inspector like we had before, because that's where we had competent inspectors. We had our problems with competency under the health department.
That's to be determined after this motion.
I'd like to call the question, please.
Question's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Should be roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call. Money.
Ms. Schmidt.
Aye.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. James.
Nay.
Ms. McBride. Aye. Mr. Marcotte.
Aye.
Mr. Scholl.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mr. Tripp.
Aye.
Mr. Washington.
Aye.
Mr. Whitten.
Nay.
Mr. Olzon.
Aye. Motion carries. How much later? We will do the enterprise zone next month. That'll be postponed. Yeah, we'll be next month. Airport study public hearing.
It's just an announcement that we are holding a public meeting, or public open house at the Hilton Garden tomorrow night from 4 to 7. The airport task force has met several times over the course of about 6 months, and have also interviewed a number of people, property owners, elected officials, and municipalities, and at this time they want to introduce a draft proposal for what we want to do around 308 interchange and the airport. And so we just want to invite and encourage everybody to attend tomorrow and see what's going on.
Any questions? Any other no-hold or new business? Mr. Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like some clarification. So when this comes to the board next month, at that time, are we going to know what department is going to be responsible for enforcing the or for doing the inspections and implementing the part of that delegation agreement?
Probably Mr. Cruz's prerogative in presenting that to the county board.
Don't you think the entire board, like, this is what we're here for, we represent the people, don't you think a discussion should be going on here in the committee so we can come to a consensus to either put it A, in the planning department or solid waste, which I strongly support, or B, the health department? I think that's kind of a huge decision to put in the hands of one man. It's one thing to appoint to hire a department head, but when it comes to deciding where something is going to be enforced, I think it belongs right here in this room. And that's my question then. So what if he doesn't decide by next month? What happens?
I don't think that when we don't hire department heads or whatever, that's not our job as a planning department. I mean, that's our committee.
I understand that, but I'm not asking who's going to be hired to do this. I'm asking under what department, what scope, who's going to have the scope of responsibility for implementing this? that should come here to the committee and the board. That shouldn't be one man deciding.
You want to form a subcommittee?
I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, we keep talking about subcommittees, and I think it's very simple. Put it back where it was most effective, and that was under the planning department and the solid waste department. That's where it was most effective, where it was doing the most inspections and generating revenue and fines. It should be, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out, please.
I think the discussion can occur, and I think that what, you know, now that the recommendation, I think that now you have to start formulating what that strategy, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I think it just needs to be feathered out and filtered and determined. You know, right now, we've got to make sure that, we're working towards a budget starting in November. We got to make sure that those are in place for those kind of things, whether it's in the planning department or wherever it is. But I think that those are some of the things that I think have to be discussed as well over the course of the next few weeks, next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Chairman. I think we've made the right decision to get this thing started again. Until we get started again, we don't know who's going to do the inspections. And I think that's what's going to have to be decided between now and the county board meeting, that we can bring it up. If we didn't pass this, why would we go out and look for an inspector or anything else? I think we've done the right thing and made the first step in getting this thing back in, which should have been back in 300 days ago or whatever it's been. But I mean, I think we're moving in the right direction.
I just want to clarify my reason of voting against this is because of the fact that it appears to me that we got the cart before the horse again. We got all these questions, and we don't have a freaking clue who's going to come up with the answer. And I tell you, until we meet with the state, and they will dictate to you once you sign a contract with them.
We haven't done that. We have talked with the state.
We haven't seen it. We don't know what you're talking about.
That's in the delegation agreement. That's why we eliminated those two parts, because we had talked with the state and they weren't willing to do that part, so we took that out and we have an agreement with them that we can go forward. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things for the record here. This should have never been suspended to begin with. We wasted lots of man hours, dollars, etc., because this thing was suspended, I believe, for political purposes, and now we're all gnashing our teeth trying to get this thing back in. Now, a couple of things that I do want to bring up. To me, if we're talking about reinstating it, it should go back to where it was on February 15th, 2007, under the planning department, under solid waste. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, if I may finish, thank you. Also, as far as worrying about cost, right now there's over $600,000 sitting there in fines that have not been collected by the state's attorney, so that should help be an equation in the funding or in the budget. The other thing is, we're talking about we can't even go out and look for inspectors. Well, if we're talking reinstatement, that means picking up where we left off. So to me, it would go automatically into the planning department. So I think we need to consider it that way. And the other thing is, I just want to make sure that this is the real thing, that we're going to go back to real inspections by competent inspectors, and that this is not an empty gesture just to do before an election. I just want to make sure this is not an empty campaign gesture.
What makes you think that that's the case?
Well, because I've been asking since January to have this reinstated.
It's been reinstated now.
But it is, but it's interesting that it's coming 6 weeks before the election. So I just hope that the rest of it gets completed.
Well, should we make a motion to do it after the election then?
We've already voted on it.
Mr. Scholl?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my mind, this is not a reinstatement. The original agreement is kaput, it's gone. We have talked to the state, we've renegotiated with the state, we've reached a consensus, we've reached common ground. The agreement is the common ground which we reached. Let's go forward with this, let's get it up and running. I don't give a hoot or holler what department it is in, as long as it is effectively done and the people of the county are protected. All this other stuff is hoopla, which doesn't amount to diddly. So let's move on with this.
Thank you, Mr. Scholl. Mrs. Schmidt.
Ms. Schmidt.
Ms. Schmidt? I'm sorry. I never have distinguished what that means, but go ahead.
I agree with Bob. I mean, we need to move forward and quit drudging out the past, and we've got this reinstatement. I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy that everybody's on the same page, almost, except for these two. But I also agree with Ann that we should check into the fines that should have been collected, or we should, I mean, what kind of teeth do we have behind this agreement or this particular situation if we don't follow through with fines and at least make people accountable for things in the past. So if we could discuss that sometime, that would be great. But I'm very happy, and I think that and talking with Mike and Bill, and that I think that we'll come to a conclusion on inspections and who's going to do them and what department's going to do them. That will be satisfactory for most of us. So, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Vickery, number 60.
Good morning, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the work you've done behind the scenes to get this agreement hammered out with the state. I appreciate the committee's action today. It'll be sent forward to the full county board, and hopefully the county board, the whole county board will pass it. And then I feel that we'll solve those other issues as time goes on. So I appreciate the action of the committee. I've been a supporter of the delegation agreement. I have a constituency out in the eastern end of the county that is very concerned about this, and I'll have some good news for them. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Witt.
Thank you, Chairman. Are we still under new business?
Sure.
Could I have something put on the agenda for the next meeting for recycling? I think a lot of these problems would be solved if we had a good recycling program in Kankakee County.
Okay, I've got it down.
Thank you.
And Stephanie has it down. Michelle has it down. Okay. Is there a motion to, Mr. Washington?
Keep in mind, thank you, Mr. Chairman, keep in mind that we're not just here to collect fines on the citizens of Kankakee County. We're here to bring about enforcement of the regulations concerning the solid waste and all other issues that come up under this category. And fines are not our first priority. Fines are what, the last resort that you have once you have not gained compliance after sufficient time.
Motion to, Mr. James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's no further business. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
So,
Seconded by Mr. Marcotte. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Interesting, Stanley,